Hi, I'm John Bolton, National Security Advisor to the Trump administration, and I'm here to simply explain to you this Russier thing. But first I need to tell you about a big concept idea called the dumdar. The dumdar is a lot like sonar. Sonar uses sound. The bats use it to check things out in the dark, and people use it when they're fishing to find out where highly populated areas of fish are at. It's kind of like that. But the dumdar uses dummy people's dummy things that they do to detect them in the pond that they live in. So, if you're a little fish, you make little ripples in the pond. But if you're a big fish, well then you make a big splash and everybody can feel your ripples. Everyone can see what a dummy you are in your pond. Let's go back in time to one of my favorite days in the United States history. June 14th, 1946, the day our dear leader, Donald J. Trump, was born. Oh, God bless that day. He was born a baby big fish. You see, his pop, Fred Trump, was a big fish. And when a big fish has a baby fish, they have a baby big fish. If you're a little fish, all your fishies are going to be born little baby fishies. If you're a big fish is going to have big fish babies. Dadoy! Donald Trump was born in Brighton Beach. That was Donald Trump's pond. He was a big baby fish. His first job was he would go from laundromat to laundromat that his pop owned and collect coins. All the quarters that were used to do laundry. Well, as he got older, he learned how to do his own laundry. And then he learned how to do other people's laundry. It didn't matter how dirty it got. Trump knew how to launder that. No matter how dirty that dirty stuff got, because he got good at it. Around the 70s, the Brighton Beach pond that Donald Trump lived in when he was a baby big fish got infiltrated by a new invasive species called the Russian mob. The Russian mob has a history that goes back hundreds of years. It used to be called the Bratva, or the Brotherhood, or as I like to call it, the Brotherhood of Evil. The Bratva lived by a certain code. They had a certain set of ethics and a hierarchy. You couldn't have a real job, or you were out of the mob. You pay taxes, out of the mob. Serve in the military, out of the mob. Well, along came this guy Stalin, and if you were his enemy, well, that basically got you arrested. Political prisoners filled the gulags, and they commingled and made friends with hardcore criminals. Suddenly, there was a new breed of criminals. They were called thieves-in-law. Gangsters with a political agenda. Now these guys were destined to pull some strings in the dummy pond. In 1974, there was a big amendment, the Jackson-Vanik Amendment, and it altered the course of New York history, Donald Trump's history, and therefore the world itself's history. Like the butterfly effect. Now people think the politics and amendments and legislation and stuff is boring. Well, kinda, but not always. Sometimes it's real and affects people and things. This particular amendment in 1974 allowed a big influx of immigrants from Russia. It was basically an amnesty bill. Unfortunately, the Soviets didn't send their best people. Instead, they opened up the gates to their gulags, letting hardcore criminals into the United States. I'm talking everything. You had convicted murderers, psychopaths, rapists, and thieves. And I'm probably pretty sure some good people too. Now, where did they decide to stay? Well, they nestled themselves right into Brighton Beach, where little baby big fish Donald Trump lived. It turns out that it doesn't seem like anyone in Brighton Beach was quite as big a dummy on the dumdar as the United States government. When the Russian mafia tuned into the dumdar, what was pinging? It was the U.S. government. They had so much money to steal, and no one was onto their government fraud schemes. The FBI didn't know anything about them. They were super busy trying to take down the Italian mafia, not the Russians. The dumbos at the FBI didn't even know the Russians were in the pond. Donald Trump at the same time had started to rub elbows with these Russians. These mobsters ended up being his business partners. It's okay. They were just clients, a famous client and a famous great deal of the Dons in the 1980s. It was the Bogatin deal. Huh, such a great deal it was. In 1984, this Russian immigrant, David Bogatin, purchased 5 luxury condos from Donald Trump's Trump Tower for a total of $6 million. That's a lot of money. What a wonderful tenant to bring $6 million to Donald Trump on one day. Well, unfortunately, just 3 short years after moving into Trump Tower, this Russian pleads guilty to avoiding millions of dollars in state fuel taxes, which the U.S. says is one of the largest gasoline bootlegging operations in history. What a wonderful tenant to have, though. It's not like Donald Trump was bootlegging. He just happened to own a lot of real estate at the Trump Tower because Trump was so good at doing laundry using shell companies. Now tune in next time and I'll tell you all about it. This concludes this episode of This Russier Thing. I really hope you enjoyed yourself and learned something about our dear leader Donald Trump, the most wonderful man in America, bar none. Now please continue to watch this series as I read over my book, This Russier Thing. If you want to learn more, it's really so simple. It's not complicated. Donald Trump is a wonderful man. When you really look at it, you will realize there is nothing to see here. Just a wonderful man and a timeless American tale. Thanks for listening to Papa John Bolton.